We got some big drama going on in the house with Crypto Week. Genius Act seems to be okay. Clarity, oh, we might be in some trouble with that one. But XRP is saying, screw you. We're going to pump anyways. I've got some juicy XRP news. Open interest blowing up. What about Ripple's banking? I've got deets for you. We'll talk price action along with.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
And yeah, I watch the Y-Files. You don't? Well, you probably should because it's a cool channel. Hecklefish. Come on now. Now, before we get into the juicy green up on screen, yo, check out ADA and SOL and ETH moving. Ooh, some laggards starting to get fired up. We're going to do whatever you want. Your comments. Why? Well, because even while I'm on vacation, that's right, the viewer matters most. By the way, it's my mom and I on vacation. That's right, taking my mom out to one of the most beautiful countries out there with some great people. We had an amazing breakfast, an amazing lunch, and bet you we're going to have a great night out. Axel Life Aquatic says, why is everyone saying they're voting on the crypto bills? They're voting on debate rules to discuss the bill, not the bill itself. Exactly. These are procedural votes, but we're having some problems with them. They're basically trying to vote on what gets added to this stuff. What are their pain points? Are they even going to debate it? Well, I'll get you all caught up on that. Don't worry. And everything is linked in the description below. So if there's something you want to read, well, you know where to find it. Description box. David Shoker says moms matter most. Of course they do. Mom took care of me for how many of those years? So now it's time for me to pay it back to my mom, taking her, like I said, to what a beautiful country. I'll get some pics later in the week. The Global Traveler says, always look to your news regardless of the background. Okay, so maybe the color of money adds to the excitement. Buenos dias, Klaus. Well, Buenos Tardes right now. Yeah, I know I don't have the green background on. I'm hanging out in a really, really cool Airbnb, by the way. Like a really, I'll get you pics. Don't worry about it. But let's get into it. Bitcoin sitting at 119,546. Look at E, 3375. XRP breaking $3. Yeah, 307. SOL, ADA, deep in the green. We're going to talk about it more. House delays crypto votes again, making Trump's promises look how. Okay, I'm going to get you caught up to speed on everything that's happened because we got some big drama and we got some Republicans that aren't supporting this action until, well, I'll explain it. Despite Trump promising on Tuesday that the votes would go through very early today, it's now obvious that nothing is going according to script. Things fell apart on Tuesday when the conservative Republicans blocked their own parties to bring the bills to the floor. Okay, so there was a procedural vote to bring the bills to the floor to debate them. Okay, I know Congress is really wonky, but this is how it works. The GOP leaders had thought they had patched things up after Trump privately met with the holdouts that night. A new deal was struck this morning, and for a moment, it looked like they make progress, but hold on. There's some strings attached. Now, the House did actually vote to pass this stuff to bring it to debate. That's what this vote for. The vote was just to bring it to debate on the floor. U.S. House passes motion to advance clarity, genius, and anti CBDC Act. This is where things are getting freaking wild. But despite the president's eagerness to sign the bill into law, some Republicans were still opposed to the legislation going into today's procedural vote. I told you that there were going to be some problems and that there were some Republicans even that aren't down with this. What are they not down with? CBDC banning. They want some stronger language. U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's usually a big Trumpy out there, commented on her concerns regarding the legislation, stating, I will not vote for this. The only way to guarantee a ban on central bank digital currency is through law. The Genius Act does not ban CBDC or maintain people's chain of custody. Okay, that's the other thing, too. The Genius Act, it appears they're just going to leave that clean. What that means is they're not going to make any amendments to it. They're going to debate it. They're going to be like, look, leave the bill the way it is. Do we have enough votes to make it happen? Awesome. But the CBDC one and the Clarity Act, we got some problems. Trump also reportedly announced that the Genius Act will be passed tomorrow, according to Bloomberg. He talked with the remaining Republican holdouts, and he said he could secure their support. We remain committed to securing these critical protections in the final legislation and ensuring they are preserved in the bill that moves through the Senate and into the law. That's from Andy Harris. Oh, got a little Y-Files, eh, baby? Now, listen to this. This is really interesting, and this is where stuff is getting absolutely freaking wild. According to two sources familiar with the matter, and this is from Eleanor Trett. Seriously, she is one of the best ones out there. Her information is linked down below as well. According to two sources familiar with the matter, the Senate is pumping the brakes, right? We were talking about the House before. Now, this is the Senate, is pumping the brakes on releasing its market structure discussion draft, which was slated for Thursday. I'm told the thinking is to wait and see what happens with the House, and then they will revisit it once there's more clarity when things stand. Ooh, well done, witty gal. She says, it looks like some of the 12 Republicans who voted no yesterday, but flipped to yes after meeting with Trump last night, did so on the promise of strong anti-CBDC language that would be added to the Clarity Act, not the Genius one. So the Genius Act, they're going to be clean on that, okay? So when they do the vote on that, the official vote to see if it goes, I will let you know. So like I said, Genius Act, it appears we're going to get a clean passage. We should have the votes for that. That's for stablecoins. Now, the Clarity Act, CBDC action, this is where things get messy. This afternoon, several of those members huddled on the floor with Clarity's authors, and who apparently weren't part of the White House discussions last night. The authors and a handful of other committee members made it clear they believe adding anti-CBDC provisions to the Clarity or combining the two bills could jeopardize the market structure legislation that they've spent months crafting. Basically saying if they combine them, it's not going to happen. So they might have to keep them separate. So what you're seeing right now is, right, Genius Act, cool. Clarity Act, anti-CBDC Act, yeah. Even the Republicans want stronger language in there. One of the Republican holdouts, Representative Chip Roy, who just voted no again, told Punchbowl News that the agreement would have been in place. It doesn't seem to exist anymore. Whoa. Well, this is where, okay, just like I said, this is drama in the LBC, except it's DC, so it's drama in the DC. A Rules Committee meeting to add anti-CBDC language to Clarity was originally scheduled for 4 p.m., but now they're not even sure if it's going to happen. Meanwhile, they're also reporting that GOP leaders are now pushing to include anti-CBDC language in the defense spending bill as another way to move it forward. Whoa. So we're really running into some problems here. Essentially what it is, the Republicans don't want CBDCs. They want to make sure that laws are in the books with no CBDCs. And you're like, but bro, why do they not want CBDCs? Because you can control people once you control their money. And that's why they don't want CBDCs. You see what's happening with China? Yeah, controlling with money. They don't want the same things to happen here. So things are fluid right now, and things are really up in the air. But the market's like, yo, screw off. We're going to rally anyway. So the market right now is looking at this going, okay, cool. We'll let Genius go through. We'll be good with that. If we could get Clarity through, awesome. CBDC one, no, but that's okay because the cryptos need what? They need the Clarity Act to go through. This is wild stuff, everyone. All right, what else do I got for you? Now available from the OCC, Ripple and Circle Charter applications. Oh, there you go. Published dates on the 16th. Oh, wait, that's today. Breaking news, even while I'm on vacation. Yeah, through the Freedom of Information Act, they were able to get that stuff. I've got that also linked in the description below. Right, ciao. XRP price at 6-month high as open interest source. This is where this is important, okay? Open interest for XRP perp futures, which reflects the amount of money controlled by leveraged positions, surpassed 8.8 billion on Wednesday. Now, here's the cool part. Pointing to record levels. The previous peak for XRP was 8.3 billion in January. Yeah. So you've got more open interest for XRP now than you did in January. That open interest is soaring. Why? Because if Clarity goes through, things will most likely move. But as I shared with you earlier, there's a lot of drama going on. The situation is still unfolding right now. Like literally, as I did the script for this, they're still doing the procedural votes, and it is looking messy. They're debating on this stuff. There's some Republicans holding out. And remember, the Republican control of the House is very slim. So if you lose just a handful of them, that might be enough to swing it in what? No votes. That's right. So I'll keep you updated as it happens. The crypto market overall is looking very healthy. Volume perked up again. 191 billion in the last 24 hours. Fear and greed's at 68. What, you couldn't give us 69, my guy? Altcoin season's 38 out of 100. Institutional inflows are still wrong. Here, look at the 1 year. That's mostly inflows. We had a couple bad weeks, but look, this is mostly inflows right now. This is freaking awesome. XRP, well, guess what I got up on the screen? It's a little bit of XRP BTC chart action. This is over the last month. Here's what I want to share with you. BTC is in orange, XRP is in blue. BTC has been much more smooth in its price action, right? XRP a bit more volatile, right? We understand that. So when XRP dips lows, it goes lower than Bitcoin. When BTC goes up, XRP goes up even higher. Look at the separation of XRP from Bitcoin from from January. Ooh, who said January? From July 10th on. XRP has really moved up. At that time, BTC was 1.9% up. XRP was at 5.4, and now look at it. You are at BTC about 10%, XRP up what, everyone? Over 30%. This is big stuff, everyone. Let's go to those candlesticks and see what XRP is telling us right here. We're going to stick with the 1 hour, and you could see it. We broke through that $3 and looking really good. Now, the high on this candlestick was 310, which is juicy, everyone. Like I said, zooming out, you're like, whoa, bro, look at the run-up. I know it looks good. So 310 on that candlestick, and if you go to the day, where does this put us? Look at this, right? This puts us all the way back here to late January, early February price action. That's why I brought up this story, right? About open interest being bigger now than it was in January. So all we need is what? The price action to follow. And it appears that XRP is making a healthy move, being fueled by what? Optimism with Genius and potential optimism with Clarity Act. That being said, we start getting the votes that we need for Clarity Act, we could make this definitely happen and put more green up on the screen. But as I shared with you earlier, you got the Senates out there that looked at the market structure bill and they're like, let's hold off and see what the House people say. Meanwhile, the House is debating the action, trying to figure out how do we get more anti-CBDC language in there. They're talking about throwing it in the budget for the military. They're talking about throwing it in the Clarity Act. They're trying everything they can to make sure that the government can't control us with CBDCs, just like China controls people with theirs. So it's really not clean. No, it's not. And it's a situation that's still unfolding right now as I wrote the script for this. But I'll keep you updated. But let's zoom out, okay? The market is saying F to the yeah. Green up on the screen. I know I don't have the green background. In fact, you want to see what my background is? Oh, beautiful. Yes. Yeah, I'm way up there. It's pretty cool. But either way, the market is moving. XRP open interest soaring bigger than what we saw in January. Record breaking levels. You've got ETH moving on out. ETH has been a laggard here lately. Sol is starting to move. ADA is starting to move. So even the poor performers of the market right now are really starting to move. And that's a great sign. Because when the laggards start turning it around, you can tell there's optimism in the market. And the optimism is what? We're going to get 2 out of 3 things done. And if we get strong enough language, we might get 3 out of 3 things done. That's a lot of things done for Congress. It usually takes them years to get just one thing done. I don't mean to poke. I'm just saying they're just really horrible with that stuff. Either way, everyone, this is juicy stuff. Now, I do wish it'd be a little bit more clean, but I understand the whole idea of anti-CBDC language. I don't want the government controlling my money either. And honestly, where would CBDCs come from? Central bank digital currency. Who's the central bank? Yeah, exactly. Do we want to give them even more power? Hell no. Hell no. I don't want to give them morons more power because we already see they have so much power anyways that they influence the entire world. So, more updates to come, even while I'm traveling. And yes, it's beautiful with the mountains in the background, high-rise buildings all around me, and yes, bombas. I heard him this morning. I love it. So where am I? Let me know in the comments down below. Choo choo what? Choo choo biz nachos. Choo choo gringos? Gringo's a key. I'm a gringo and I'm a key. Later.